Hi, welcome back to my channel, and I hope everyone is doing well out there. I wanted to kind of talk about my last video about Vanessa Guillen. I did receive a couple of comments and messages about my thoughts about protesting. I just want to say that I acknowledge how you guys feel and your opinion. I am not advocating violence at all. I believe in peaceful protesting because it's true. The more energy you put towards something, whether it be violence or peace, the more energy will flow that way. So I just wanted to make it clear that I get what you guys are saying, and I totally respect how you feel. But I also was thinking, like, I got a lot of messages about the protest portion and about it being violent or non-violent, but the main underlining issue was basically how women are treated in general, right? I think that is my problem, and that was the message I was really trying to hit home. You know, besides that, we need justice for Vanessa, and also this is a culture thing. This is a worldwide epidemic, how women are treated. That was really like the underlining message I was trying to get across. But I guess people pick apart what they want to, and they choose to focus on whatever resonates with them most. There is a march happening July 30th in Washington, D.C. It starts at 9 a.m. They're introducing the I Am Vanessa Guillen bill, and the actual march starts at 10. And again, this is July 30th in Washington, D.C., which I think I would love to go. And if you guys can go, that would be great. Unfortunately, you know, with this whole CV thing, like, I've officially been laid off, so I have to think twice about, you know, everything that I'm doing. I live in California, so it costs a good amount of money to get to DC for the weekend, and I am not in the position right now to do that. But if you guys are, that would be just such a great movement to be a part of. Kind of like the Women's March I went to a few years ago. You know, it was a beautiful thing. But anyways, I don't know if you guys have heard about the AOC and Ted Yoho. I believe that's his name, right? Mr. Yoho, whatever. I'm gonna try to insert the video onto this one. Hopefully I can do it. I'm not super tech-savvy, but if you haven't seen it, like, please watch it. Like, that is my point. Like, she, like, hits it, like, she's on the money about it. Let me give you a little bit of a background on what happened. He approached her at the Capitol and basically said really disrespectful things to her, and he ended up with saying she's a fucking bitch. And I'm like shocked. Like, you are supposed to be like this person that looks out for the people, but you think it's okay to say the kind of things that you said to a congresswoman? Like, she's a congresswoman, like, and I can't believe that. You know, and then he doesn't apologize. He makes excuses. Okay, he says he has a wife, he's a family man, he has 2 daughters. Okay, and does that make you a good man because you have daughters, you're married? Come on, it doesn't. Can you, if you watch the little clip with AOC, and she's on the House floor and she's explaining what happened, I just, like, I really have so much respect for her, because she was gonna let it go, okay, but in the end she knew that being silent wasn't the the right thing to do, because like she said, she has nieces. I mean, she wants to not just look the other way and stay silent, because when we do things like that, people just get away with bad behavior. And she points out, you know, just because, you know, you're a father and you have a wife doesn't mean like you're a good man. You know, you could be a man in power, right, and still disrespect women, you know, and still just be so, I can't even think of, like, I don't want to use the words on here that I want to describe men like that. And I just, and on top of that, she's not, you know how sometimes people, they, like, I'm trying to think, because she says she doesn't care what your beliefs are, okay, whether you agree or disagree with her, it doesn't matter. What matters is she's standing up for all women all over the world. Whether you're a Republican, you're a Trump supporter, it doesn't matter. You know, that's, I see a lot of that. Like, people want to get on the bandwagon, and people want to like pick and choose what's okay, what's not. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I was dating someone, right, who is a Trump supporter, and I tried really hard to just not let that interfere with our relationship. And I wanted to understand, you know, like, why. Like, I wanted to be able to talk and have open conversations about where she stands and where I stand, and my curiosity, because, you know, you being a lesbian woman, right, and also being a Hispanic, right, like, and you know, you're a woman, so like, why would you support his administration? Like, I don't understand. But you also support the LGBT community. Like, I'm confused. See what I'm saying? So my point is, with AOC, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, skin color, or anything. She's standing up for what is right. No man should talk to a woman that way. And if you're just, and you're there, like the bystander, he was there and he didn't say anything. And that's another thing, like with the whole Black Lives Movement. Like, if you stay silent and if you don't say anything when you see someone being disrespected, like, you're just as guilty. You are a part of the problem. So, yes, please watch that video, and if you can, go to that march. I just really want to emphasize that more people need to speak out about how women are treated. The fact that AOC gets like spoken to that way by another person, like, that's like within her, you know, her circle. Like, well, then again, Trump told her to go back to wherever she came from, so, and people think that's okay. So I shouldn't be so surprised. But anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to touch bases on the messages that I got, and let you guys know that I hear you, and thank you for sending me those messages and sharing how you feel. Like, I do really, like, take what you say into consideration. And as always, I don't ever want to make it seem like I'm right and you're wrong, because we're all individuals and we all have our own, you know, beliefs and morals and values, and we process things differently. You're never wrong and I'm never wrong. We just believe different things, and that's okay too. But I always want to keep it respectful. Always. There's no reason for it not to be. Right? Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna try to link that video on here and share your thoughts, please. And if I can't, I'm just gonna like link it down below somewhere or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, that's it for now. Just really quick about, you know, my recent rant. or thoughts that I have going on today. So yeah, have a good day. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.
About 2 days ago, I was walking up the steps of the Capitol when Representative Yoho suddenly turned a corner, and he was accompanied by Representative Roger Williams, and accosted me on the steps right here in front of our nation's Capitol. I was minding my own business, walking up the steps, and Representative Yoho put his finger in my face. He called me disgusting. He called me crazy. He called me out of my mind. And he called me dangerous. And then he took a few more steps, and after I had recognized his comments as rude, he walked away and said, "I'm rude. You're calling me rude." I took a few steps ahead, and I walked inside and cast my vote, because my constituents send me here each and every day to fight for them and to make sure that they are able to keep a roof over their head, that they're able to feed their families, and that they're able to carry their lives with dignity. I walked back out, and there were reporters in the front of the Capitol, and in front of reporters, Representative Yoho called me, and I quote, "a fucking bitch." These are the words that Representative Yoho levied against a congresswoman, the congresswoman that not only represents New York's 14th congressional district, but every congresswoman and every woman in this country, because all of us have had to deal with this in some form, some way, some shape, at some point in our lives. And I want to be clear that Representative Yoho's comments were not deeply hurtful or piercing to me, because I have worked a working class job. I have waited tables in restaurants. I have ridden the subway. I have walked the streets in New York City. And this kind of language is not new. I have encountered words uttered by Mr. Yoho and men uttering the same words as Mr. Yoho while I was being harassed in restaurants. I have tossed men out of bars that have used language like Mr. Yoho's. And I have encountered this type of harassment riding the subway in New York City. This is not new. And that is the problem. Mr. Yoho was not alone. He was walking shoulder to shoulder with Representative Roger Williams. And that's when we start to see that this issue is not about one incident. It is cultural. It is a culture of lack of impunity, of accepting of violence and violent language against women, and an entire structure of power that supports that. Because not only have I been spoken to disrespectfully, particularly by members of the Republican Party and elected officials in the Republican Party, not just here, but the President of the United States last year told me to go home to another country, with the implication that I don't even belong in America. The governor of Florida, Governor DeSantis, before I even was sworn in, called me a whatever that is. Dehumanizing language is not new. And what we are seeing is that incidents like these are happening in a pattern. This is a pattern of an attitude towards women and dehumanization of others. So while I was not deeply hurt or offended by little comments that are made, when I was reflecting on this, I honestly thought that I was just going to pack it up and go home. It's just another day, right? But then yesterday, Representative Yoho decided to come to the floor of the House of Representatives and make excuses for his behavior. And that I could not let go. I could not allow my nieces, I could not allow the little girls that I go home to. I could not allow victims of verbal abuse and worse to see that excuse, and to see our Congress accept it as legitimate and accept it as an apology, and to accept silence as a form of acceptance. I could not allow that to stand, which is why I am rising today to raise this point of personal privilege. And I do not need Representative Yoho to apologize to me. Clearly, he does not want to. Clearly, when given the opportunity, he will not. And I will not stay up late at night waiting for an apology from a man who has no remorse over calling women and using abusive language towards women. But what I do have issue with is using women, our wives and daughters, as shields and excuses for poor behavior. Mr. Yoho mentioned that he has a wife and 2 daughters. I am 2 years younger than Mr. Yoho's youngest daughter. I am someone's daughter too. My father, thankfully, is not alive to see how Mr. Yoho treated his daughter. My mother got to see Mr. Yoho's disrespect on the floor of this house towards me on television. And I am here because I have to show my parents that I am their daughter and that they did not raise me to accept abuse from men. Now, what I am here to say is that this harm that Mr. Yoho tried to levy against me was not just an incident directed at me. But when you do that to any woman, what Mr. Yoho did was give permission to other men to do that to his daughters. In using that language in front of the press, he gave permission to use that language against his wife, his daughters, women in his community. And I am here to stand up to say that is not acceptable. I do not care what your views are. It does not matter how much I disagree or how much it incenses me or how much I feel that people are dehumanizing others. I will not do that myself. I will not allow people to change and create hatred in our hearts. And so what I believe is that having a daughter does not make a man decent. Having a wife does not make a decent man. Treating people with dignity and respect makes a decent man. And when a decent man messes up, as we all are bound to do, he tries his best and does apologize. Not to save face, not to win a vote. He apologizes genuinely to repair and acknowledge the harm done so that we can all move on. Lastly, what I want to express to Mr. Yoho is gratitude. I want to thank him for showing the world that you can be a powerful man and accost women. You can have daughters and accost women without remorse. You can be married and accost women. You can take photos and project an image to the world of being a family man and accost women without remorse and with a sense of impunity. It happens every day in this country. It happened here on the steps of our nation's capital. It happens when individuals who hold the highest office in this land admit to hurting women and using this language against all of us. But once again, I thank my colleagues for joining us today. I will reserve the hour of my time, and I will yield to my colleague, Representative Jayapal of Washington. Thank you.